Hi, welcome to a Roboflow training movie. In this training movie, I will talk about write encoding. When you're reading or writing text files, Roboflow is assuming that this reading or writing happens in the encoding that Roboflow is running in. By default, for instance, on Windows, this is Win Latin. On Mac OS, this would be Mac Roman or UTF-8, depending how it is executed. On Linux, it will be UTF-8, usually. So the key problem is that when you want to write a text file, for instance, if you want to write an XML file, you want to write it in the encoding of the XML file. And so to make sure that you are writing it in a correct way, you can specify the encoding. I have here an example in the catalog of a record in which I have a special character in, for instance, the notes field, and I want to export this information to an XML file. If I do this standard out of the box with the normal write instruction in the action write text to file, and I don't specify the file encoding, it will use the file encoding in which Roboflow is running, which is at this point UTF-8. So if I run the workflow, you will see that the result, which is here in a folder, here this file. If I open this, for instance, in my browser, let's take a new window. Oh, too many windows here. So if I drop this in my, then it reads it and it says, hey, there's some kind of weird, incorrect character in your XML file. And if I take a look with an editor, I can see that actually it is assuming that this should be UTF-8 because you specified here in the encoding that it is UTF-8 that you want to write, but in reality it's Win Latin, and so it's seeing some character which isn't correct. If I go to Roboflow and I change in Roboflow the encoding, here in my instruction I say UTF-8. Notice that I'm not writing it like you would write it in an XML file. For the header, you can find everything about that in this URL. We are using Roboflow, the normal Java Lang API, which means that for whatever encoding you want to specify, this is what you need to specify, this column. So if you look for UTF-8, it's like this, which is not like this. Same for Win Latin, is actually not Win Latin, but is ISO something, this guy. So you see for Win Latin, you would normally, for Latin 1, would normally specify something like this. But in reality, for Roboflow Java, you will have to specify it like this. But in this case, we want to write UTF-8 because we said in the header of the text file that it is UTF-8. So all I do is here specify UTF-8, and then it, if I write it, if I execute the workflow start, it will create a new export file as example, and here now I can see that it properly reads that character. It still sees that we are UTF-8, and same if I open this in my browser, then it is telling me, yeah, nice, this is proper UTF-8. So it doesn't matter what encoding you want to export, but you need to specify it, and it needs to match what you're saying in that file. So if you're saying in the header of this file, like in this example, I'm writing that this is UTF-8, well, then you have to make sure that in this write instruction you specify UTF-8, and then everything will be fine. So this was just a small training movie explaining about file encoding in Roboflow. Thank you for joining this training movie and hope to see you in a new one.